Hello darlings, this is a video for Patreon and for YouTube. I just want to close this week of Trump, and on Patreon I have done 3 videos, bullseye, all about Trump, and basically I just want to close now. So we've got this one as well. We've got this, so I'm going to keep this open so that I can go over, but I want to do a very short, quick video to close all this information that I've collected over the past week. Oops. And I just saw this morning a video from Crystal Time, and
Hi everyone.
Oops. I don't watch videos of other people, but that was brilliant. That was just 20 minutes long, straight to the point, and a couple of things came up that I'm going to make a point on. So she explains butler. She explains that butler is a meaning in French. It is the meaning of the man that serves the wine. So I was thinking, when you look at butler, I was thinking I hadn't even got to looking at butler because I was so, explaining my other things. There were things I didn't even look at. I was more looking at this box, at this square, at the torso, Taurus, looking at the chest, the four corners, and on the four corners you've got the 2 exits. You've got the throat, Taurus, and you've got the sexual organs, Scorpio. So Mars and Venus rule this exit and entry. Venus rules Taurus, the exit of the spirits. So the alcohol from flesh to spirit, which was what coronavirus was all about. It was the CV, it was the feminine axis of the mutable cross. So Amy Winehouse from the ripe Virgo girl, and we see her dying skinny. She doesn't make the spirit, she dies, she disappears. It's the Little Mermaid story always. She loses her voice and she comes to earth with 2 legs. That's the splash, and she sells her spirit to come and have an experience of the fleshly, of the forbidden apple, of the fruit, of the harvest, of the recult of the Virgo girl. So butler meaning, let's just open it. So here we go again. I've got this up here. Okay, so butler is the man that serves the wine. So that is that journey, and on the 13th, as Crystal says, it is what I have been explaining. It is the feast of Fatima, which is the eye. We've got Jupiter on the eye. Venus rules Taurus. This is all about Venus. This is all about finding the 5-pointed star, the 888. So we've got 88 years from 1936 Berlin Olympics and to the Paris Olympics. It's 88 years. So we've got this final 8. The 888 is the divine number to find. So we've got the 8 phases of the moon, the anima, the analemma that the sun makes in the sky is the 8, and the closing of the Venus, the 2 hands, 5-5. So there are 55 years since 1969, 1936, Berlin Olympics is the B, and the P is Paris. That's BP. That's just your 69. That is the 2 directions of the magnetic, electric, red, blue, right, left, the 2 pillars, the JB pillars. And she sits, the high priestess, and as Christelle said, it's the 13th card. She reminded me of that. She's got this really in 20 minutes. She just says it all. So she shows us that the BJ pillars is the 13. So Julius Caesar, the play that was made in 2018 in New York, the Big Apple, the app. This is all about Taurus, the fertility god, the apple taking the Fatima story. Here we got. I can't see my pages because I've opened the video and now this blocks it. So that is very annoying. But 13. So there was the play of Julius Caesar, which I've covered in my videos. That's the best way to see it. So, oops. So these are the two directions. And we're now at the J. J10 is the J. L is the 12. So that's 3 and 1 makes 13. Jacob's ladder, it's the 13. So you get the key in the middle. That's why Prince Charles went to Scotland for the key. And we've got the new English president, Keir Chiron. The key, Chiron's the last few years before Chiron finishes his journey from 1977 to now. So Donald Trump, D is the 4th letter and T is the 20th. So that's 42. That's the Jupiter symbol of the Paris Olympics. He became president in 2016. That is the summer solstice. That's what we're fighting for because that is the four corners. It's the four corners. We're leaving the mutable cross ruled by Mercury and Jupiter. Jupiter has no air. He rules water and fire. Only Mercury can take on the role of the air to outdo Saturn. Saturn is currently at home, but he's ending his period of passing through the Twin Peaks from the beginning of coronavirus in 2020, which is that 10-10. It's the two hands. 55 years since the launch, since they landed on the moon in 1969, and 55 kilometers between Canada and Russia. That's your Cairo. It's the Cairo, and that is the Cairo is the Nile. It's the Nile. It's the spine. It's where the two pillars, the Olympics in Berlin are the two pillars, and now we've got the one Eiffel Tower. So we're bringing up Venus. Venus rules Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, and for the assassination, so that's right now, but for the assassination attempt, we had Venus, the ruler of Taurus, where Jupiter is right on the Philosopher's Stone. The philosophers rejected the true third eye, Aquarius. So we've got Saturn, he's retrograding, he's going to go back almost to that third eye, and then Jupiter will retrograde as well, and for the rising of the new Notre Dame on the 8th of December, we will have Jupiter back on the bullseye, making again this same square between Saturn and Jupiter, between the exit of the torso to spirit, the voice, and to this, finding the true fixed air. Aquarius, this is Matthew. So the killer, the shooter, was called Matthew Crook. So this is Matthew, Aquarius, This is Luke, Taurus. This is Luke, John, and Mark. So Venus, the ruler of Taurus, was in Cancer. This is the true Mother Mary. This is the 69, and this is where we're about to have the full moon. We're about to have the full moon tomorrow, which is the 21st. And the 21st is the 777. So this shooting happened at 6:11. 6:11, was it 6:11 p.m. probably in the evening, or it wouldn't have been at 6:11 a.m. in the morning. So let's put it 6:11 p.m. Put it so, and the moon is right on Spica, the blue star. So yeah, that is the most important thing, and it was the day before the quarter moon. So the moon this is the first quarter moon, just after the new moon that we had in Gemini. So we had the new moon. Let's go to the 13th. So we've got this just before. So for the shooting, we had the moon right on the blue star Spica. So blue is this colour of, it's the other thing that Crystal mentions. She says about the camel. She talks about the camel, but we've got Joe Biden, so JB, the pillars have fallen. Joe Biden, and in France, Jordan Bardella, those pillars are over. We've got just the high priestess in the middle, the 13. The 13 is normally Jesus Christ, Julius Caesar, the JC, the 10, and the 3. C is the third letter, but Donald Trump is the DT. DT, so D fourth, and T20, that makes 42, the symbol of the Olympics. So he will fall, and this Kamala Harris, who is playing the role of Virgo, which we see in the Fatima story, July the 13th. Let's see if I can get behind and find everything I opened. Okay, I don't know what I opened here, but look, we've got Play Bill, black and white, black and yellow. So in one of my 3 videos I've made this week on Patreon, I talk about Kill Bill with Uma Thurman and the connection. And, you know, we've just had the Emperor of Tokyo. So the Emperor came to England, that's Pisces and Sagittarius, Jupiter. And they do the Philosopher's Stone, the Empire of the Sun, coming to England, and they go to Scotland, to the head for the key. And, you know, I'm talking about we had the Beryl storm. So Beryl is the 4. It is to be or not to be. And it's the 4 corners. And it's in manga. In the manga, you've got, so, you know, the manga of Japan, the last video I did on YouTube is showing you the Princess Beryl on the front cover, which is the manga, which is the Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. So Bill Gates opened with Prince William. He was received the red cape of Saint Martin de Tours. Saint Martin de Tours kills Saint Saturnin behind a Taurus. So I cover all this in all the videos I've been doing. It's just so much information for me. But here I open this looking for Julius Caesar, and we've got 44th Street. So Donald Duck is DD, D-Day. Judea and Gallia, which is the connections with taking the man onto the roof. Okay, so Luke is Taurus. Jesus heals a man let down through the roof of a house. On one of the days while Jesus was teaching, some proud religious law-keepers and teachers of the law were sitting by him. They had come from every town in the countries of Gallia and Judea. So in French, Jour J, Gregorian, Julian calendar, Jour, G is always a play on 7. G is the 7 and J is the 10. So when you look at the picture of the hands I show you, you've got the G and the T, the 7 and the T. G is 7, T is 20. So that's 72. And 72 is the last, it's the last Venus 5-pointed star, is the 72, that angle of the last point of the last star. So that's 72. So G, jour J, and from Jerusalem the power of the Lord was there to heal them. Some men took a man who was not able to move his body to Jesus. He was carried on a bed. They looked for a way to take the man into the house where Jesus was, but they could not find a way to take him in because of so many people. They made a hole in the roof over where Jesus stood. Then they let the bed with the sick man on it down before Jesus. So the image told he'd said, no one sews a piece of cloth from a new coat or an old coat. If he does, the new coat will have a hole. So that again is showing the cloak that was offered, the red cloak at the, it was a modern technology conference with Bill Gates and William. So Bill Gates is playing the role of Saturn, just like Elon Musk, the musketeer. It's the fake hero and the energy of Kill Bill. You have to pay your bill to open the gates, the Bill Gates. So he was given, and I cover all that. The old wine is new wine must be put into new bags, and both are kept safe. No one wants new wine after drinking old wine, he said. The old wine is better. Well, again, this is just the journey from the grapes, the flesh, to the spirit, to the wine, from Virgo to Pisces. We have currently got the North Node in Pisces to become that alcohol, and the South Node in Virgo. So on this assassination, we have got the Moon conjunct to the South Node. Mercury rules Virgo, Jupiter rules Pisces. Jupiter is on the bullseye, and Mercury is next to Venus in Cancer, the Mary and her child. It's not Virgo. Virgo is not the true mother. And now we're about to have this full moon. We're about to have this full moon tomorrow, where we've got Pluto conjunct to the moon. So this is like the P in the Cairo, 69, PB, 96. This is the people, the moon. The Queen died at 96. She was brought down from Scotland. Trump was brought down off the stage. Trump is playing that Christ's head between the four corners. So in these pictures we've got, so this is the 21 tarot card. So this is the news came out on the 14th of Trump's. So that's 777, and this is this passage that I keep saying we're now fully on the morning of the 21st of June. So what I just opened here, it's on 216 West 44th Street. That is your summer solstice again. So Matthew, Aquarius, Scorpio, Scorpio John. So this is what I've been saying. The picture of Trump is holding his fist up. That's Orion. That is at the gates of the summer solstice, the power to the people. I did the video on John Lennon, Yoko Ono, one egg. So the merging between the English and the Japanese again, between Pisces and Sagittarius, Jupiter merging and rising Virgo. Jupiter and Mercury rule the mutable cross. He's only got Virgo and her child, the Dauphin, the mother and child, the Marianne, the Madonna. He's only got the Mona Lisa, the hormonal Lisa, the Poutine, the horizon, the rising of Notre Dame with its steeple, which is the unicorn. It's the one corn, it's the one horn. So Gemini, the twins, and making one sex, taking the fertility in Taurus, the free martins, and making the twins, the birth of female, which is born with no more fertility, with no more sexual ability. And this is when, Salome, this is normally the Solomon passage, 101, between the Jesus, the Solomon, and now we've got for this 100-year passage. So I was talking about Woodstock. We had the Woodstock in 1969 in New York and in 1999. So Woodstock, and we've just had in England, we've just had yesterday, so this is all me explaining yesterday in the news. After I did a video yesterday, we've got, okay, that's the glitch. So much has happened. So where did I write about it? Was it so here we've got Keir Starmer hosts European leaders at Blenheim Palace for key summit. Blenheim Palace. So again, it's the key. The palace is notable as the birthplace and ancestral home of Sir Winston Churchill. Sir Winston Churchill, he walks around with his two fingers open, his index and his Saturn finger, showing us the V for victory. And we've got Jupiter on the Philosopher's Stone, on the Adam's apple, and Saturn, who will now retrograde back to former holds. The true, but those fingers are separated. Closed, open. So the Winston Churchill V for victory on each side. Venus is exalted in Pisces, the Little Mermaid, and Venus is the dark side, Venus, who decapitates John, taking away her own fertility. Scorpio, the life and death portal. John opposite here, and we've got the conjunction for that 14th. It was the total conjunction on Medusa, the beautiful, graceful. So I think that pillar, we've got the severity and the mercy, and that's what Crystal was showing us. She was showing us on the Kabbalah, on the tree of life, that the path, the right ear, and that's what I was explaining in my videos as well about the balance. It's that balance, and I was saying that on the 13th I was feeling woozy, I was feeling a loss of balance on that day, the energy, especially here where I live on this, where I'm right on this passage of Taurus, of the five-pointed star. My village is the five-pointed star. So Uranus and Mars were right on Medusa. This is the dark side. This is the Venus as well. Taurus is ruled by Venus and Mars is with Uranus. So Perseus is this energy of Mars that decapitates. So taking from Andromeda her power, she was so-called protected from her own, taking away her own power, her own Vesica Pisces passage. So Woodstock 1969, in the dairy farm in Bethel. So the killer of who comes from Bethel, assassination, Trump. There was another, I just can't, Trump shooter remains an elusive enigma. There's something, we go over it again. What is the connection? Bethel. Suspect came inches. Does he come from Bethel, or Bethel is a place? So there's this connection. So Bethel is Bethlehem, be the lamb. This is be the lamb, the true lamb, the true thalamus, the true be the lamb, the true five-pointed star. We had the great Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in 2020, which made that star of Bethlehem, when the three crosses become one, when the umbrella closes. So Bethel was also for this Berlin Olympics, what happened at Woodstock. So then in 1999, where we should, so 1999 is always a play on the 7777, because the 7 is that right 90-degree angle, and they had exactly like in the opening of the fertility festival, the 13th, 14th, 15th. So again, the 13th, 14th, 15th, that date, the 13th, which, as Crystal says, is also the opening of the fertility festival. When I was in the floods in New Zealand, when Mars was on Aldebaran, that was on the 13th. And now we've got Jupiter on Mars, and we have the assassination on the 13th, and he's right bang on Aldebaran. And when I was in, so 7 July and 13, and it was the second, it was for the second February. So February, and now we've got July, and we've got this new moon coming, which is, Capricorn and Cancer. So the sun was right on Sirius. Well, it was more about being on Pollux, the boxer, the Lord of the Rings, the frame. So that's why Butler, that intrigues me, that Butler is in the shape of that square. It's in the shape of the square you see at the beginning of her video, that square. Okay, so my attempts, 28 minutes. I just want to round this up. So today, the 20th, so 7/20 is 7/2. We've got Venus and we've got Mercury. So we had the IT close down yesterday, and we also had yesterday, after talking, so again, Charlie Brown, CB is 32, Geranium, which is this girl in the middle, and they have all joined. Leaders from across Europe gather at an English country managed for a summit clouded by worries about whether the United States would remain a reliable ally if Donald Trump secures a second presidency. So this is just Fatima who is going to come in. Fatima is going to come in. She is this card in the middle. So that's why I've brought these pictures together. So Christ between the four humours, which are just the four fixed stars, the four musketeers. Jesus Christ is that 13th sign, is that pillar. The rose coming through the Solomon. This is the Venus, the path of Venus. This is the famous showing the Cairo and the symbol for Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, and coming into this world of Mercury and Jupiter becoming one in this 100-year La La Land passage. So this is the 13th. This is showing us the back. And this is what I'm saying, that Trump is just playing the goblin, as in Amélie Poulain. She's with the gnomes, the Stilt Skin. She has to guess the name, otherwise she loses her child. She loses the fertility, which is the same story. To find that capstone, which is the L, the 7337, which makes the 10 and the 10, the XX. So Aleister Crowley stops at the 7th. There are 4 phases of the moon. There are 28 days for the 4 phases of the moon. And that makes the 7th, 7th, 7 is only 21. You need the last phase. So this is the top of your skull, the Alpha Omega, the Aleph Tav, which is just the Mars and Venus. The Mars and Venus, the Sun and the Moon. But the cross, Jupiter and Mercury, they have nothing to do on the fixed cross. We have the Sun in Leo, and the cardinal cross, we have the Moon in Capricorn. It's just Mars and Venus, the anima, the full fixed, and this merging now of the Sun and the Moon. He's holding that last corner, that last angle, and Jupiter and Saturn, and we have that last angle now as Jupiter and Saturn are square in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius. And here we've got Mars and Venus in the compass, making that 45 degree, which is the one, the number 1 gives us that angle, and the 90-degree angle. So 1999 is a 1 and a 999, which is the same as the 1 and the 3 sevens, and you need the last angle. And the capstone showing that 45 was that 43. So he's holding his 2 fingers together. This is always, it's the back of our brain, it's the trunk, it's the Ponce Brooks, it's this passage to find the 13th. There's your bird. She is playing the bird to the stem. The medulla is what controls our emotions. So just Mona Lisa and the poutine and the Paris, Texas, this connection between all the shootings in Texas and Paris, the blue, the pink, the orange, the red, you know, it's the same colors in Odyssey 2001, which is just 21. This is the trunk, the Hierophant, the Madonna, the dirty Diana is Taurus, and the killing of Diana, the moon goddess. And there is your Trump. This is the goblin, the yin and the yang, the cornerstone, the sulfur, the mercury, the salt, all that I cover. The famous film in 1986, The Labyrinth, and again he's taking the child and he's with the Virgo girl. This is Jupiter right now in Taurus, as we've got the closing moon assassination of Trump. So the moon on Spica, and we've got this closing, the tail in Virgo and the head in Pisces. Mercury, Jupiter. Mercury, the ruler of the head of the snake, in Taurus, and the ruler of Taurus in Cancer, the true Mother Mary, with the sun, the Dauphin. And then for the IT close down, we've got Mercury just entered Taurus. So the 11, so we had the floods, we had the 3 gorges, the 3 heads of the dam, so the guarding of the gates, Apollo 11, the landing, the moon landing, the 11, so that 1, the 69. This is the germanium, the 32, which is the same connection. So those are the Berlin gates, and then we've got now this going on at Blenheim Palace. Blenheim Palace, we've got all the leaders, and here he's showing he's got 3 hands. So the man of Fatima, the Fatima story, the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. So this happened on the 13th of July, which I just discovered watching Crystal's video. So the appearance, and so we got May the 13th, June the 13th, and the last was July the 13th. So the 313, on July the 13th, the 3 children assembled at the cova. So these are the triple goddesses, the 777. So this assassination attempt happened on the 13th, the last, and then the next day is July the 14th, the 777, the triple goddesses, the 3 phases of the moon. So let's put moon, triple goddess, triple goddesses, images. It's just these 3 phases. So between the full moon, you've got the 2 crescent. Let's put the phases. So always the Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. So we've got the full moon in Capricorn. We have had the journey of the 3 triple goddesses. These are the 3 earth signs, and working with the moon, the water, and the earth. So moon phases. I've been covering a lot. So we had the new moon in Gemini, and we're now going to have the full moon in Capricorn. So on each side of the new moon, we have the waxing crescent moon and the waning crescent moon. So we just had, for the assassination, we had the first quarter moon right on Spica, but it happened just the first quarter moon was on the 14th. So on the 13th, we had exactly on Spica the blue star, and we had this waxing between the waxing crescent and the first quarter moon just before. So, and then we had the 777, but there's always the dark side of the moon. There's always that last phase. There's the 4 phases, 1, 2, 3, 4. And between the 4 phases, we've got the waxing gibbous, the waning gibbous, the waxing crescent, and the waning crescent. And in all, that makes 8. The sun in 1 year. The cycle of the moon is just a copy of the sun's cycle in a year. So you've got the new moon winter, spring, full summer, and autumn. And the passage, this journey. Okay, 38 minutes so far. So this is the mascot for the Olympics is the red Liberty cap. It's the Liberty pole. Turn off my phone. Gives me a headache. So he's got this 3rd hand, and the 3rd hand is showing the Jupiter and Mars, and everything is about this Jupiter and Mars conjunction coming up over the Olympics. So the Olympics open on the 26th. The Olympics open on the 26th, and during the Olympics, we're going to get that merging, and we get the 8-12. On the 8-12, there is complete conjunction. That's actually more completely on the 8-14th, and then we have for the rising of Notre Dame, we're going to have Jupiter coming back. So Jupiter then goes back, and for the 12-8, the rising of Notre Dame, we've got Jupiter back on Aldebaran, and we've got Saturn conjunct to the moon on Fomalhaut again. So, but Saturn has come back, Venus conjunct to Pluto, Mercury retrograde conjunct to Antares on Scorpio, taking this, you know, she is the true MC, and in 100 years we come back to Scorpio taking the MC, but Mercury taking the fertility with the Sun, and Jupiter opposite, an opposition of Jupiter with Mercury and the Sun on Antares, claiming this fertility axis of the fixed cross. And Mars is what I keep saying, Mars in Cancer, in the mother, normally the anima and the animus. The anima is, for every man, is Venus and the moon. The moon rules Cancer, but now we've got Mars taking the energy of the moon. And Venus, where will Venus be? Venus conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So in the old hag. Okay, so these pictures just help me to show you. So the I am and the New Zealand, the two directions of the wheel, and we've now got this one. So there was the glitch, there was the global crash, and that happened yesterday. That happened yesterday morning, and we had, so the moon was right on the dart of D'Artagnan that goes into Europe, into Scorpio. Jupiter, the ruler, and Jupiter is on the bullseye. And we've got Mercury that has just entered, he entered Leo on the 13th to the 14th. He entered Leo, was it on the 15th? So by the 15th, so 13th, 14th, 15th is always the fertility festival. It's the dates of the, somebody, I didn't know anything about Amber Rose. Somebody commented on Crystal's video. So yeah, Amber Rose. Right, the Idis, March the 13th, 14th, Idis of March. So the Roman calendar, the Idis of March is the 15th of March. Okay, so it's from the 13th for most months. So it's 8 days. The Idis is the 13th of most months. So that 13 is again 13th, 14th, 15th. That is when Mercury entered. So he was fully on the 15th, which is the Idis. So the Rome and Mercury is so coming into the home of the Sun, and mutual reception going on. Mercury rules Gemini and the Sun rules Leo, and this is the rising of the Sun King, the Dauphin, and Mercury rules. So we've got, for this full moon coming up, we've got Mercury nearly on Regulus, and then for the opening of the Olympics, we've got Mercury on the feet of Jesus, Mary Magdalene. This is what I was talking about. I've done 3 videos, so I've covered a lot of stuff talking about this Mary Magdalene. I was talking about Jean de Barry, the film of the prostitute with the King of France. So that's the Sun. There's the King, the Sun, with Mercury, Mary Magdalene taking the home of the Sun, because Mercury and Jupiter, they have nothing to do. They rule the mutable cross. So this glitch happened. Mercury had just entered. I opened a chart for the glitch. IT collapse, yeah, IT collapse. So we've got the Sun square to the key. We've got Mars and Uranus square to Mercury, communication, algol, you know, this is Mars rules Scorpio, opposite Scorpio, this is the Europe, the fertility, and Venus and the Sun. The Sun is not quite in Cancer. The Sun is going to move in today to Cancer. The Sun is right now, it's just in Gemini as I speak, and will move by this evening into Cancer, and then we get ready for this full moon. So the Sun is going to take that. The Sun is a masculine energy in Cancer with Venus that rules Taurus. So Venus was bang opposite Pluto, and the Sun was bang opposite Pluto. Pluto retrogrades, and the big thing that was said in the Berlin Olympics, Pluto was right here, and now for the Paris Olympics, Pluto is in Capricorn. It's the 69, the 96, so I keep going on about the PB, BP. So again, yesterday in the newspapers, we have this woman, and she is called, so at the Palais Bourbon, we've got the woman rising, the Palais Bourbon here. So talking of BPPP, this I was talking all about it, the pink blue, Palais Bourbon, Berlin, Paris, 88-year spin. So we've got the last 8, Venus, the closing of the 5-pointed star, 2016 to 2024 is 8 years. And the falling of Notre Dame, 2019 to 2024 is 5 years. And now we've got Yale, she's called Yale Braun Pivot. So Bernard Pivot died, I've covered that a lot. And now we've got the girl, Yale. Yale, originating from Hebrew, carries a significant meaning of the mountain goat in Hebrew culture. So the Manda Fatima, Saturn is the true third eye. The Manda Fatima is just Venus in Taurus. It's the Adam's apple. It's the passage to become spirit again, out of the box, the chest. Beryl, we saw Beryl, and we saw that it was carrying the armor, the jewels on that armor on the chest, the 4 corners. Beryl is the number 4. So in Hebrew culture, the mountain goat symbolizes agility, bravery, and independence. Throughout history, this name has emerged as a popular choice for individuals seeking a powerful and unique identity. So the sun is in Cancer, and the moon is in Capricorn, the mountain goat, next to Pluto, the government. This is government. It's the private and the public realm. It's your cellar, the 4th house, and your public realm, the 10th house. So after a 3-round election, again, it's the 777, it's the 3 apparitions of the Virgin Mary, and we've now got a victory for Yale Braun Pivot on the by 22 votes, some 220, Mitchell, yeah, 220 votes. That's your 22 BB Betty Blue, the B Blue Star. So there you've got the Palais Bourbon, which is the same thing that we see in Julius Caesar, New York, Trump, staging of who is yeah, this is why outrage over Shakespeare. So you see the arc, we see, so this came out in 2000 and was it's 2017, bingo, 2017, which was the beginning of the crossover of the 2 great eclipses. So it's always blue, there's always this blue and red, and this image here which we see Fatima, the man de Fatima, Kamel Harris coming through. So ending the mercy and the severity, the JB pillars, Jesus Christ, and the splash, the mermaid, Venus in Pisces, and then Venus, look, and they show you just one corner, the leg, the last corner, and Harris coming through. So that is just the gnome, the api, the lotus flower, that's Scorpio, the bull god taking Mars rules the head and the sexual organs, and we've now got Mars in Taurus and Jupiter in Taurus as well. Route to Memphis, Lucifer rising, Marianne, La Marianne faithful. This is the merging of Mars and Jupiter in Taurus. Amélie Poulain showing always the red and yellow and the black and white. She's taking the masculine energy, and the Poulain is the foal. The fowl, the foal, the apostrophe is the 6-9. Stop the 69, the merging of Venus and Mars and Mercury. And this passage. And there is the mascot. It is the gnome, Amélie Poulain with her gnome. This is Bess, the fertility god. And there's Rumpelstiltskin, furious, and she keeps her baby because she remembers her name. She remembers the passage back through. And this, yeah, all this is to talk about the Prince Edward, Prince Woodstock, the Black Prince. So Prince Edward was with Prince Charles in Scotland, and we've got Edward of Woodstock, the Black Prince, the 100-year, the Black Prince, and the Black Prince is coming up where I live. They're showing the show. So this is the 100-year war, Oxford. This is where they are, in Blenheim Palace. It's in Oxford, the Palais de Woodstock. Yeah, but this is it. This is Blenheim Castle. This is exactly where they are right now in Blenheim Palace. It's exactly where they are right now in Blenheim Palace, and that's why I was talking about Woodstock here. Starmer seeks to reset. So Starman, this is David Bowie, this is Starman, Waiting in the Sky, who did the Labyrinth film, which came out in 1986, which is the year of the tiger passage. So Woodstock, Edward of Woodstock, known to history as the Black Prince, was the eldest son and heir apparent of King Edward III of England. He died before his father, and so his son Richard II, the Lionheart, succeeded to the throne instead. Clashes between French and English during the 100 Years' War by the troops of Edward Woodstock. Okay, so we're coming up now to this new moon. I think I've spoken enough. I wanted to keep this as short as possible to really see everything in detail. They are in my 3 videos in Patreon. This was the decapitating in that happened in Texas. Shahir's Psycho sculpture witness will remain. So it's all about the abortion laws to keep the satanic abortion idol out of Texas. So has requested the statue not be repaired, and the university has agreed to honor her wishes. So they're keeping her decapitated. We've got this that happened. You know, we've had it, all this preparation of Mars and Uranus on Algol, and the switch between Pegasus decapitating Medusa and so Mars that decapitates Medusa, and now Venus that decapitates Mars. So that was, and that was that video, and then I did a first video So I'm just going again over the free martyrdom. It's just, and then I did a first video, the bullseye. They won't, the images are not coming up. Okay, so I was showing images. There's the coat, there's the cape, there's Bill Gates. This is Saint Martin de Tours. Saint Martin de Tours, who kills, he's the hero. They're showing you Saint Martin de Tours and up above Saturn in heaven. So Woodstock and Snoopy, the dog, the low below, and this piggy beast to end homelessness. So he's coming in to play this role. And there is Saint Saturnin being killed, and this is all the story of where I live. The church is Saint Saturnin, the roads, and Taurus. So they're showing him as a giant. They're showing him like really big. Yeah, this is Jupiter. Chiron, this is this Kia, this, and they keep showing you the arc, the last, the Alpha Omega, and now we've got Pluto tomorrow. Okay. Okay, I'm going to end there. Go and have a look at Crystal's video. Trump's right ear, hermetic path.
Hi everyone.
Oops, it's 20 minutes long and it's very good. Look, there's the coats. It was on the Meridian, Butler Farm Grounds, Meridian, Pennsylvania. So, you know, we had between the Paris and the London Olympics, the London Olympics in 2012 were bang on that Meridian ley line. And now the Paris Olympics are just on that northeast, just on the other side. And yeah, the Little Prince, the Eiffel Tower sits on the hat that we see in the Little Prince, the boa constrictor. The boa constrictor. Little Prince, boa constrictor hat. So this is the Seine. If you look at the Seine, the Eiffel Tower sits right on the eye of the elephant between the 16th and the 7th arrondissement. So 16 is 7, the Eiffel Tower, this is the Seine, it's the snake, and it's the elephant which represents this trunk, this medulla at the back of the stem of our neck, the trunk, the stem. And being able to see through the scene, the Seine, and to keep this 13th place in the middle, to be the observer of this show, and to, you know, just to be able to completely have an objective, to understand the subjective, to have an objective view, and to be take the center, to be the eye of the beholder. That's Api. Api, the bull god, is in French. The apiculture is the beekeeper. And that's what Beryl was all about, being the beholder, to be or not to be the keeper of the four corners, and to find this passage through, to be able to go from flesh, wine, to spirit, alcohol. That's what Algol is all about. It's the alcohol. And tomorrow we've got this full moon as, you know, Venus, Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, where we've got the North Node, the South Nodes, and Jupiter, the ruler of where we've got the North Node in Pisces, between that open angle, that last leg, right angle, to find the spirits. and Uranus still under Algol. Okay, my darlings, this will go on to YouTube after Patreon, and I'm going to be doing another video tonight with my daughter, and I'm going to let her speak. I'm tired of speaking, and I'm going to let Chloe give us her view of this full moon. Okay, I love you very much. Bye for now.